All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, October 4th. We got 4 MLB games on today's playoff slate. Like we always do, we're going to go through each and every one of these games, all 4 of them. I'm going to give you my lean or leans on the games, but all of my final plays, so what I'm actually going to be rolling with myself. If you do want to fade me, those plays will be in the pinned comment. Yesterday, we go 2-1, and thank God for that Phillies-Marlins game that we just kind of sniffed out here. We had the Phillies money line and the Marlins and Phillies under at 8.5. We didn't need to take the alternate under. We did. We paid a little bit extra juice, but nonetheless, we'll still take the small profitable night. The Jays on the money line burned us a little bit there. They didn't even really look, I guess you couldn't even say that they looked comfortable at all during that game. They were down 3-0 for the most of it. They get 1 run back, end up losing 3-1. But nonetheless, playoff day number 1 in the books. We did have a profitable night. Unfortunately, our ride of the day does not come through. We got to drop womp womp. Shout out to Rose here for Eddie Julian over 0.5 total bases. He does not get the job done. He did have a walk, which I do kind of have a bone to pick with how baseball betting works. Like if a guy has a hit line of 0.5 and a total bases line of 0.5, they're the same odds right now. I think that walk should count towards bases. Just make it, you know, more juice to be paid, like -160 for his bases line, -120 for his hits line. I feel like a guy, you know, whether he walks or then steals a base, should count towards his bases line. But that's just me, and we would have cashed yesterday because Eddie Julian did walk in his first at-bat. But nonetheless, guys, if you do want to be the ride of the day, all you got to do is use hashtag ride of the day in the comments. Give me an absolute banger of a pick. I'm looking for winners. I'll be jumping on board with one person's pick in the comments, and you guys got a shout out in the next video, win or loss. Before we do jump into the show, guys, I want to talk to you about Outlier. If you have not checked out Outlier yet, you're missing out on one of the best sports betting research tools out there, especially for player props. Guys, you can get a 7-day free trial with the link in the pinned comment. If you can understand that green means good, red means bad, then you can profit with Outlier. Again, 7 days free in the pinned comment. And if you guys do choose to continue your subscription, it's $20, $19.99 after that per month. That's pretty competitive out there with all these other sports research tools. That's a really, really good price point. And again, super easy to profit with Outlier. They're really, really, really detailed, and you can uncover some nice little trends and whatnot over there as well. Go check out Outlier, guys. Amazing for football betting as well. Let's go ahead and jump into the slate here. Game number 1. We're starting off with Tampa Bay taking on Texas. Texas yesterday does not, Tampa Bay at home does not show up yesterday. Texas wins this one 4-0. On the mound today is Nathan Eovaldi for Texas. He's taking on Zach Eflin, who's been pitching all right. The team's been playing well when he pitches. The team 5-0 in his last 5 starts. Eovaldi, the Texas Rangers, 4-1 in his last 5 starts. In terms of their last 3 here, Eflin with a 3.18 ERA and a .76 whip. Eovaldi, you know, he came back and hasn't looked all that miraculous. In his last 3, actually struggled to close out the year. A 10.13 ERA with a 1.65 whip. And I like him. He's one of my favorite pitchers in the league, but part of me does believe that Tampa Bay shows up today. In terms of, you know, how much they win by, I wouldn't even consider their run line here. Like, if anything, I like Texas +1.5 and Tampa Bay to win this game. So I obviously think it's going to be a close game. I don't see Tampa Bay going out in 2 games. I think that Eovaldi still has to kind of prove what he is since coming back. And the one thing I will say, if you're on Texas, I don't mean to talk you off of it because you know Eovaldi's a gamer, right? He's proved that multiple times in his career. So he could have bad 3 starts heading into the playoffs, show up today and like nut up or shut up time. The dude's going to nut up. Pause. But I do think that the Rays at least fight today. And I'd be remiss if I didn't, you know, think about taking a chance on them on the money line. So I'll take Tampa Bay here in terms of my lean. What I like in this game a lot is going to be the under 8 runs. I think that this should be a 7.5 line, and I'd still be considering the under. Again, 4-0 yesterday. Even if Tampa Bay shows up, it's a 4-3, 4-2 type of a game and cashes this under. And we saw a few different low-scoring games yesterday. I think 3 of the 4 went under in terms of what we looked at for games. So this is playoff baseball, baby. A line sitting at 8. I do think, yesterday I talked about how these offenses can be good, but these pitchers are good too. So I'm back to looking at the under in this spot again. That kind of gives us a safety net if Eovaldi does decide to pitch well as well, because I do think that Eflin's going to go out there and pitch fairly well today. Because from an offensive perspective, you know what you're getting of these teams. They've been batting well. Texas worse than the Rays, but they have a lot of bats in that lineup. So if these pitchers need to pitch well in order to keep these guys down, you can't go out there and have a non-playoff performance night, or this thing's going to hit like a million runs, right? So I'm trusting the pitcher, putting the ball in their hands, which is where it should to start the game. But yeah, give me the under in this one, as well as Tampa Bay on the money line. Keep an eye on the pin comment to see if we do end up rolling with those as final plays. All right, Twins taking on Toronto here. Twins get the win yesterday, 3-1. We were on Toronto, our only loss of the day. Today, the Twins are heavily favored at home, minus 135 over on Caesars. Actually, this line is moving, or these odds are moving even more into the negatives here for the Twins. I do like the Twins. They have Sonny Gray on the mound going up against Jose Barrios. Sonny Gray's looked really well. His last 4 starts, he's given you at least 4 innings, which isn't all that deep, but only allowing 1 run as a maximum in those 4. So in his last 3-year, 1.06 ERA with a .76 whip. Jose Barrios, 3.86 ERA with a 1.07 whip. Pretty much like kind of flat as to what he's been doing all year long with his 3.8 ERA and a 1.19 whip. So I do think that, we've had a consistent Jose Barrios. He's had, he's given you the 6 innings, 3 to 4 runs per those 6, in the last, I would say, 3 starts of his. I trust that this is going to be a spot in which Sonny Gray can step up. Both these pitchers back in, I think it was May and then June, 2 series sort of back-to-back with one in between there, had pitched against these 2 teams earlier in the year. Sonny Gray, 5 innings pitched, 1 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, and only 2 walks against Toronto back in June. And then back in May, Barrios went 5 2/3, 0 earned runs, 5 Ks, 5 walks there. Did have, near 20 pitches per inning, which is a little worrisome if you're on Toronto today. But like I said, I do like Minnesota in this spot. They're a better team at home as well. In terms of their home away, they're 48-34, which is quite impressive for them to be at home. Way better batting team at home as well. In their last 5 here against righties, they're struggling a little bit, but again, that home away split is a hell of a lot different. So I'll take Minnesota here. Again, I also like the under in this game. We liked a few over yesterday in terms of our leans, so I don't know if we're the total whisperer for this postseason so far. I think the only total we got right yesterday, hand up, is the one that was a final play, which is great because obviously that was the one we're most confident in. But the other ones, we didn't really see eye to eye on what actually happened. But I do like the under today. I think that both these offenses, were a little shell-shocked yesterday. I don't see them going out there and bouncing back and having like a 10-9 game today. So I'll stick with the unders here. But I like Minnesota on the money line more than I do the total in this spot. All right, guys, before we continue on with this, I'm going to ask you to do 2 things. First off, hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button. You guys have been crushing it as of late. And while you're down there, check out the pinned comment and then go check out the Fade Me store, guys. We have a bunch of new hoodies and sweatshirts on the store right now. This is a great way to support what we're doing here. The new arrivals, I'm loving the stiff arm hoodie, crew neck, and t-shirt that we launched right now. I think this is a really, really cool design. Comes in 4 different colors here. If you do want to support what we're doing here and support the growth of this and continue to contribute towards us making bigger and better content, consider picking up some merch. Again, Fade Me is the store. FadeMe.store is the URL. You'll have that link in the pinned comment. Go ahead and check that out. Now let's get back to the slate. We got a game in which I'm kind of on the fence here. Milwaukee taking on Arizona. So I'll admit here, I thought Milwaukee, had that yesterday, and Arizona comes through the 6-3 win, right? And now they're pitching the best they have in Zach Gallen, going up against the best Milwaukee has in Freddie Peralta. Like I said, I'm kind of on the fence here. I think the big thing that I'll lean towards here is actually going to be the over. Yes, 2 good pitchers on the mound. I think that's why this line drops to 7.5. And I saw some offensive output out of these 2 teams yesterday with a 6-3 game. So even with better pitching, I am slightly leaning towards the over as my first lean in this one. But in terms of where I'm going with my play, I'm putting the ball in Zach Gallen's hand. Again, I'm kind of on the fence here. I'd be surprised if Arizona knocks off Milwaukee like that. Like, it just seems too easier, or not necessarily easy. I mean, Milwaukee had their chances yesterday, but I just can't really look past Zach Gallen, who, you know, I do like as a pitcher. Freddie Peralta had a bad start to close out the year, but other than that, pitched really, really well, obviously, on the season in terms of where these guys' stats come from. 3.47 ERA for Gallen, 1.12 whip, compared to Freddie Peralta's same whip, 1.12, 3.86 ERA. So even though these guys are studs, you know, they're letting some runs in, I guess you could say. Then in terms of the bullpen, you know, that Brewers bullpen just has not really looked all that great. Now, it hasn't been bad, I'll be completely honest, but their available bullpen today, 5.02 ERA with a 1.42 whip. Arizona's better. Their available bullpen right now, 4.3 ERA. So I do think that this is another spot for Arizona. The only thing that makes me really hesitant about this is the fact that they won yesterday. And does Milwaukee really go down like this? Do they? Like, it just doesn't seem like it computes in this dumb brain. So I'll lean towards Arizona here, getting plus 110 odds over on DraftKings on the money line, but I like the total more than anything. Again, these are two stud pitchers. However, their ERAs are near 4 here, and I do think that we can see 8 runs today. And again, those bullpens, though I think the Diamondbacks little bit better, those ERAs are up near the you know, the 5s as well. Milwaukee's available blend being in the 5, so I think we could see some runs here today, sort of like we did yesterday. So again, I admit I'm on the fence on this one. It is tough because, you know, if the Brewers won yesterday, I'd be all over the Diamondbacks today to even it out. But I don't know if I could see the Brewers losing 2 straight here. Last game on the slate, we have the Phillies taking on the Marlins here. This is the game that we had pegged really well yesterday. Philadelphia wins 4-1. We had Philly on the money line and the under. We took an alternate under. Didn't need to, but we did for the safety. In terms of who Miami has going, they have Braxton Garrett being trotted out today. He does 2 of his last 3 starts, 0 earned runs. His last start to close out the year kind of got hit around to some degree by the Mets. 2 home runs through 4 innings pitched for 4 earned runs. Miami's offense going up against a righty today in Aaron Nola, who I've smack talked plenty on the channel, but the dude got consistent and finished the season fairly well. Like I said, in terms of the offense here, Miami batting .260 against righties with a .299 on base percentage. You're like, oh, that's pretty good, right? The Phillies in their last 5 against lefties, 7.5 runs per 9, 351 average, 373 on base percentage. Okay, so you can't really turn a blind eye to that. And you're looking at a Phillies starter here that we could say has been pitching well. Now, I would say that you know, both these guys have been pitching well as of late, but when you bring that offensive factor into it and that offensive discrepancy, I have to say I'm seeing Philadelphia win this one and saying goodbye to Miami here. So I'm going to lean Phillies on the money line. Yesterday, we liked the under. I like the over today for one reason, really, and it has to do with the historical matchups for these pitchers against these teams. Both these teams played one another this season plenty. In terms of Braxton Garrett, 2 games this season against the Phillies. 5 innings pitched in each of them, 6 hits in each of them, 3 earned runs in each of them, and threw a lot of pitches in each of them. 19 pitches per inning in terms of his last start against them back in August. And then Aaron Nola here, it's not all that great. 7 hits through 4 1/3 in his last game against them. 4 earned runs. He's averaging 4 earned runs over his I think it's like 5 innings, so not even his ERA, but his averaging 4 earned runs allowed overall against them in his pitching innings here, and he pitched against them a few times this year. So neither one of these guys has the best of track records against the team they're playing, and there's some recent history there. So I'm going to lean towards the over. And like I said, you know, you have 2 pitchers that have been pitching well, but not against these teams, and I'm going to trust the offense in this case. So I'm loving the fact that those correlate, you know, positively. Over as well as the Phillies. If the Phillies can get to Garrett today and score a decent amount of runs, it's going to help our over lean as well. And guys, that is all I have for you in today's video. Obviously, these playoff videos are fairly quick, like half the time is a normal video, but nonetheless, hope you guys do enjoy. If you did, hit that subscribe button. If you're still watching right now, go ahead and comment 14, and I want to know who you think is going to win the World Series here. So comment 14 and the team you think is going to win the World Series. And yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. Yesterday's video had a decent amount of views and engagement and everything, and all I could say to that is sincerely from the bottom bottom of this big old gut, guys. Seriously, thank you so much for all the support and all the views and likes and subscribes and everything. It's really, really exciting to be waking up and doing these videos. A sport in which baseball, doesn't have that excitement, right? But like we're kind of proving that wrong. That I will say, if you bet on a sport, it makes it a lot more exciting. But I'm glad that we can get up here, entertain, make picks, make winning picks more often than not, and everything. Just have a good time and build a really, really cool community. So shout out to the Fade Squad. Screw the Guppies. Comment 14 if you're still watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. All right, peace out.